Hi, I'm Steve from the Detector store. Today we're going to talk about changing motion sensors and give you some tips on how to improve the way your security system may operate by putting new motion sensors in. If your security system is 5 years or older, you may consider now changing the motion sensors. The motion sensors are a very important part of your security system's operation by detecting motion. As detectors get old, a number of things can happen. The detectors can be prone to false alarming, or the detector may be prone to insensitivity, which means it actually doesn't detect correctly. It's a simple job that most DIYs can undertake themselves. At the Detector store we have a full range of motion sensors, and we can assist you if you need to change your motion sensor. To replace your motion sensors, first you'll have to remove the old sensor from the wall and disconnect the wiring. Most detectors have a clip arrangement which unclips the cover. It may take you a little time to actually find out exactly how to unclip the cover on your old detector. Remove the cover from the detector to get inside the detector, which will expose the internal wiring and the mounting screws which connect the detector to the wall. It's also a good idea to actually turn off the power to the control panel and disconnect the backup battery if you know where that's located. Some systems have a fuse on the system, and by shorting the wires together in the detector may cause that fuse to blow. Work out now how to actually remove the circuit board. Most circuit boards are removable so you can easily access the wiring. Start by disconnecting the screws from the circuit board, but taking note of where the wires are connected and the colour combination. If need to be, take a pen and paper and write down this combination and the symbols on the actual terminal strips on the old detector. Now that the old detector is removed, you can now prepare the new detector for installation. Let's have a look at some of the detail actually on the wiring on the actual detector. On this particular detector we have a black wire, which is the negative terminal, and we have the red wire, which is the positive terminal. These supply the 12 volts low voltage to power the detector, and when fitting the new detector we must make sure that we put the plus and minus wires back in the terminals correctly, otherwise the detector will not function. We also have a terminal here marked normally closed and a terminal marked common or C. So you'll see the blue wire is actually into the normally closed socket, and there's also here a device, an end-of-line device or a resistor, which sits across between the common and the tamper on this particular detector. The white wire is actually connected to the tamper, so this is a 4-wire arrangement. So we have a pair of wires bringing the power into the detector, and we have a pair of wires taking the signal away from the detector. Your detector may actually have 6 wires going to it, may have 3 different pairs. In a 6-wire device you'll have one pair of wires, the red and black typically for the 12 volts low voltage. Maybe the blue and white pair will be doing the alarm signal back to the alarm panel, and the third pair, which could be in this case here it's actually a green and yellow pair, or it could be an orange and green, different combinations for different cables. This would typically be the tamper circuit. That's why it's important to actually note down the actual terminals and what wires are connected to the terminals before totally disconnecting, so when you reconnect your detector you actually put the wires back in the right terminals. The new detector we're installing to replace our old detector, we're using a Bosch blue line quad detector. Now the terminal strip is a different design. The terminal strip is actually removable from the detector to make installation much easier. Also, the terminal marking may be different from the detector that you removed, but we'll just try and go through and explain some of the terminals and what their purposes are, and we'll wire this one up on the bench just to make it easier to see how it actually goes back together. Also removing the end align device or the end align resistor, because that'll be needed to be reused in the new detector. Placing the wires through the hole that we've made in the back of the case to accept the cable in the new detector. Now looking at this particular terminal block here, we have, it starts with T for tamper, the negative power, the positive power, the normally closed alarm loop, the second leg with the normally closed alarm loop, has a data terminal here for other devices which we're not interested in today, and it has the final tamper one on the end. So how we're going to connect this up is, we're going to connect our end align device is going to sit between the tamper on the end here and the first normally closed. Because this wiring for this one was a 4-wire design. So we've now fitted our end align device. It's sitting between the tamper and the normally closed. First wire we'll put in is the negative wire, negative power. Followed by a red or positive wire. If the ends of the wires are actually a bit dog-haired or sticking out, twist them together so they go in. The last thing we want is small pieces of copper wire causing a problem on the terminal strip. The next wire will go into the terminal marked normally closed, which is the other side of the alarm contacts. And our final wire will go into the tamper or T at the end here, which will complete the circuit. So this arrangement here replaces what we had on the old detector. So what we've done here now with this new wiring is mimicking exactly how the old detector was connected, and will give us the same operation. Refit the detector in situation. We showed you the wiring on the bench just to make it easy. Now we're actually going to do it actually up on the wall where the detector is actually mounted. Remember, we've pre-drilled a hole in the back of the detector to accept that cable. Detector, because the terminal block is actually removable, it actually makes it quite easy for us to reconnect the wiring. We've already pre-fitted the end align resistor into the appropriate terminals on the block. Again, just remembering if any of the wires are a bit dog-haired, to give them a bit of a twist to get rid of any dags or anything that may be on the cables. Sometimes it's necessary to back the screws off on the terminal block so the wires actually slide in nice and home. Okay, we've now connected all our wires back up into a detector. On this particular one, we can snap the terminal block back into place, into its little mounting position. Fit in the excess cabling back into the wall cavity. Proceed then to screw the detector into place with the mounting screws. Now the mounting screws may actually end up in a different position from the original detector. That's not a problem, just make some new holes where as necessary. Trying to mount the detector nice and firm. You don't want the detector wobbling in the corner there. That'll cause false alarms. Okay, now you can refit the front of the detector case. Putting everything in the right position. You'll notice that once the detector's mounted in, the detector will power up and it will start actually doing its walk test mode. So quite often the detector will sit in that mode for a minute or so. It's important to walk test it and actually make sure it works properly. Simply as you move around the room, walk around each corner of the room and make sure the detector is detecting. It's also important to go to the keypad and check to make sure that zone is actually behaving normally at the keypad as well. Now you can see that your rear detector has actually sealed and it's going in and out of alarm on the keypad. This is normal operation. After you've taken the time to research and pick the correct sensors for your home, they'll give you many years of reliable operation. For more information about alarm systems and other things from TechnoWorks, visit our website technoworks.com.au. Thank you.